Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone of Rule. Shalom to all the Akim teaching this word around the globe with faith and truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Caleb from the GMS England London Forecasters Camp, back with another lesson to help edify the Lord's elect. As always, I'd like to start by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites, and the real Israelites, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, West Africans predominantly, but you will find Israelites that do look like the other nations, because we as a people have been scattered amongst all nations to our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible named Israel, then you too are an Israelite, no matter what you may look like, because Numbers 1 and the 18th verse says that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So I just want to do a quick lesson. It's a basic one, but a deep one. It can be considered a deep one, because it's really the deepest thing that we deal with, which is that this life is a test, in the sense that everything we experience in this life is all a test. You know, this isn't it. This isn't. We'll really start living when we're in the kingdom, but this life really is designed to reveal what manner of man or woman you are. So all of the experiences that we have day by day or day to day are all designed to reveal what manner of person one is. For example, are you a man of integrity? Well, a man could say, yeah, I'm a man of integrity. You can say that, but guess what? Saying it is one thing, but words mean nothing. It's really your actions which are being weighed in the balance. So really, a man is being tried every day. You know, you have things happen to you in life, and nothing can really be taken for granted. You see, people in the world, they live their lives and they just take everything as it happens, and very few people stop and analyze or contemplate on the things that they've done or have happened to them. They just sweep it under the carpet and forget about it. But as a man of the Lord, we don't do that. No, we don't do that at all. You know, we have to examine ourselves daily to see whether we be in the faith. Because it's all good and well to say, yeah, I'm in the faith. But again, it's your actions that are being weighed in the balance. So this is Sirach 2 and verse 5. It says, "For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity." So we are in that furnace right now. We're being tried to see what manner of metal we are. You know, gold will survive. Gold will be refined and survive the trials. But baser metals, they won't be able to endure that heat. You know, they're not going to come out at the end of it being as refined as gold. And that's the same for people. You know, you've got many men, and many men can say many things. Many men can claim many things. But really, it's proven in one's actions, one's conduct, one's character. You know, that's really what is being examined. And, you know, you can't fake the funk. You know, the Most High will reveal what you are. For example, if you're a yes man, someone who just, you know, I'm going to go along to get along, I'm not going to rock the boat. Well, guess what? The trials of your life will reveal that, and it'll be evident. If you're a base man or a waste man, you know, someone of low moral fiber or moral integrity, situations will reveal that in an instant. Forgive me, I've got notifications on. Just situations will reveal that. For example, there's a scripture here. Let me bear with me while I bring it up. This is Sirach 10 and 31. Sirach 10 and 31. Here we are. Let me Let me start from Sirach 10 and 30. This is some good scriptures. It says, the poor man is honored for his skill, and the rich man is honored for his riches. And that's a good precept because, a lot of men in this world hide behind wealth because wealth can blind the people, wealth does blind the people of the world, but we're not of the world. But talking about the people of the world, right? They admire riches, they admire wealth because they decide to have those things themselves. So when they see another man who's got riches or wealth, they'd be like, oh, he must be successful. I want to be successful too. And they admire him. But they're admiring him for the wrong reasons because oftentimes that man with the riches is the man with the lowest integrity. You see, so really the traits or qualities a man should desire to have is honor, integrity, courage, bravery, same thing. Those are, honesty, be a man of your word. You want people to trust you, show that demonstrate that you're trustworthy. Those are real things that turn a man from being a base man into a man of high quality in the sight of the Most High. Because the Most High is only dealing with the best of the best. It's dealing with the elect. And a lot of men don't retain those qualities. As they go through life, those qualities are beaten out of them. Or they forsake them because they're too hard to retain. You see, in order to hold on to your integrity in this life, you got to be prepared to suffer a lot because life's not going to allow you to hold on to your integrity just easily. You really got to fight to hold that. And in order to do that, you have to overcome circumstances and overcome situations. For example, I'm going to use committing adultery as an example because that's a good one. You might have a friend and he's got a very attractive woman and his woman's giving you signals, indicators of interest and all that kind of stuff, showing that she wants you or whatever. But what are you going to do? Let's say you could do it and get away with it and your friend would never know. Would you be willing to steal another man's wife? You see, a man of integrity wouldn't do that. Look at Joseph as a good example with Potiphar's wife. She vexed him by making it. Let me get it. Rather than me roughly paraphrase it, let me get it. Bear with me. Go to Genesis 41 and 45. Right, before I go to this story, so I'm kind of jumping around a bit. Bear with me. Let me finish this precept first, and then I'll expound upon the adultery example. So this is Sirach 10, starting at 30. The poor man is honored for his skill, and the rich man is honored for his riches. So I broke that down. Verse 31. He that is honored in poverty, how much more in riches? And he that is dishonorable in riches, how much more in poverty? So let's use this as an example. A man that's dishonorable in riches, that's a very, very low man, because when the scriptures say that money is a defense, So when you got money and you don't need to worry about things, there's no real reason for you to lose your integrity. But you see, a lot of these men had no integrity to begin with. So even though they're rich, their integrity was at like rock bottom. So they're dishonorable. Now, a man who behaves dishonorable in riches, how much more in poverty? Because you see, when you're in poverty, you got everything coming against you. You got fucking bailiffs knocking your door, people running you down, demanding you pay your rent. Pay your bills, all this kind of shit. Basically, you got dogs nipping at your ankles, right? So in them kind of situations, you make desperate moves. You might do desperate things. As the saying goes, desperate times call for desperate measures. Now, a man that is poor may do these things due to the pressure he's under. But when a rich man finds himself in poverty and he was dishonorable in riches already, how much more when he's in poverty? See, because these are the things that reveal a man's character. So let me go to the example I was going to give in Genesis, Potiphar's wife. Bear me a second. Genesis 41. Genesis 41 and 45. It says, and Pharaoh called Joseph's name. Oh, that's not one. That's not the one I want. Bear me. It's lucky. Bear me. I'm going to have to find this precept. Here we are. There we go. Let's read it from Genesis 39 and 1. And Joseph was brought down into Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites. So Joseph fell into slavery because his brothers threw him into a pit. All right. So Joseph was a man who, see, this is the thing. As I said, as gold is tried in the fire, acceptable when men are tried in the furnace of adversity. Joseph was thrown into a very, very bad situation, thrown into slavery, but he didn't lose his integrity, as I'm going to read here. And it says, and Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord Yahweh was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. And he was in the house of his master, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did to prosper in his hand. So even, this is the thing, man. You may lose everything. Your wife may leave you. You may lose your job. You may lose your reputation, your status in the world. You know, your friends might lift up their heels and turn their backs against you. But guess what? If you retain your integrity and you stay faithful to the Lord's not going to abandon you. And that's really what matters. You don't want to lose your connection with the Lord. That's what really matters in all of these things, in all of these trials. You see, we can sometimes get sidetracked and think that other things matter. But that's the flesh speaking. You know, you could lose your home, you could lose your wife, you could lose your children, you could lose your friends, you could lose your job, you could lose everything. But so long as the Lord's with you, you're good, man. Remember Job, he lost everything, but the Lord was still with him. And that's what mattered. That's what pulled him through. And that's what's going to pull us through when we're in dire straits. Because we do go through dire straits, you know. Not everything that brothers go through, they publicise. But, you know, on a day-to-day basis, brothers are really going through hard times and serious afflictions. And you know what? In all of those things, as I said in the opening of this lesson, it's all about, are you going to stay faithful to the Lord? You know, are you going to stay faithful even in the hardest of circumstances? Because doing the right thing is easy when it's easy, but oftentimes it's not easy. Because if doing the right thing was easy, everybody would do it and there'd be no trial. But the real trial is, I'm going to put you, this is the Most High will say, I'm going to put you in a really precarious situation. I'm going to see how you move. I'm going to see how you act. Show me who you are. That's basically what the Most High is saying to us every day. I'm going to put you in this situation. Show me who you are. Or I'm going to put you in that situation. Show me who you are. And our lives are the revealing of the men we are. But the point of the matter is what type of man do you want to be? You know, what man do you aspire to be? Really, if one aspires to be a man of the Lord, then they should aspire to have those virtuous qualities that make a man of the Lord a man of the Lord. And Joseph is a good example of it. So let's read on. In verse 3. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him and he made him an overseer of his house, and all that he had he put into his hand. So Potiphar trusted Joseph implicitly. What did Joseph do with his master's trust? Let's read on. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of Yahweh was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favoured. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, "Lie with me." Now you got to use your imagination when you're reading these scriptures, right? As I said, if doing the right thing was easy, everybody would do it. So let's use your imagination. Joseph's master's wife cast her eyes upon him, and she said, "Lie with me." So you got to use your imagination. In order for this to be a real test, she had to have been decent looking. You know, because if she was some busted, mash up, broke down, fucking Big Shirley type woman, you know, that wouldn't be much of a thing to pile off and ignore. So I imagine, obviously it doesn't really say, but I imagine she must have been rather attractive. So that would be a real trial. Here it is, you've got your master's wife saying, "Lie with me." Evidently she wants it, but what are you going to do? You're going to betray your master who's treated you so well? Let's read on. And she said, "Lie with me." But he refused and said unto his master's wife, "Behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath into my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against the Most High God?" See, there you go. Joseph retained his integrity. And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her. So she was pressing on him hard day after day after day. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men in the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. You see, that was the right thing to do. That was the right thing to do. There it was. The wife had waited for the opportune moment to press him when there was no other men in the house to see what they were up to. But guess what? The scriptures say that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. See, nothing is hid in this life. You can't get away with anything. You might think you've been slick and you ain't been caught and you got away with it, but the Most High saw it and the angels recorded it. And in due time, it can be brought to light in any manner of ways, any number of ways the truth can come out. If the Most High wants it to come out, the Most High will reveal it. And even if he doesn't reveal it, would you be able to live with the guilt? You see, because we can fool ourselves for a moment, but the truth always comes through in the end, because men of the Lord have very strong consciences. And, you know, if someone else doesn't convict you, our own consciences can be the thing that convicts us the most when we go off or we do wrong. I mean, that's happened to me many times, you know. There've been, you know, because just because we're prophets doesn't mean we don't make mistakes. You know, so from time to time we do make mistakes. And when I personally do make mistakes, there's a certain particular feeling that I get in the spirit, which is pretty damn unbearable, until I do what I need to do to rectify the situation and make it right. And that's always been the case with me, even before the truth. I'm not someone who can do something off or wrong and not feel convicted in my spirit about that. But I say all praises to the Most High for giving me that spirit, because that's what keeps me on the right path. But my point being is that this is a test, and we're not always going to pass the test. The scriptures say a righteous man falleth 7 times and get back up again. But that's the point, that we get back up and we learn from our mistakes, because if we were perfect, then we wouldn't need to undergo this trial. We're not perfect. We're in the flesh. We're going to make mistakes. But the point is that even if you make a mistake, making a mistake is not the end of the world. What matters is what you do after you realize you've made the mistake. That's what matters. But you see, people of the world, they don't think like that. They think, oh, well, I made a mistake. I'm going to lie about it and try and bury it and hope no one finds it out. But then what happens, people who live that type of way, they end up accumulating a lifetime's worth of fucking bodies in the closet or skeletons in the closet, which when they have to face up to them is too much. And it becomes unbearable because it's like it's like a mountain that they can't overcome because they've done so much wrong in their lifetime that they don't want to admit they've done the wrong. So therefore they run from the light of the truth because they don't want to come to the truth lest their deeds be reproved. You know, this was only supposed to be a simple lesson, but I'm getting kind of deep just speaking on it in the spirit, because this comes into, you know, the psychology of people and human nature and why people do what they do. And a lot of times the reason why people continue to make mistakes is because they don't have the strength to admit that they made a mistake. So they double down on being wrong, and they triple down on being wrong, and they quadruple down on being wrong. They dig their heels in, and guess what? They dig their heels in to the point where the ground falls away up beneath their feet. And as the saying goes, pride cometh before a fall. Because they were too proud to admit they were wrong in the first place, it just becomes worse and worse as time progresses. So, as I said, this lesson is about the trials, because every day is a trial, and you know, not all of the trials are caught on camera. You know, this truth is bigger than camp. It's like camp is just 1 day or 2 days out of a 7-day week. Really, it's every minute of every day we're being tried through the spirit, man. Being tried, be it through situations, you know, relationships, interactions with family members, and so on and so forth. We're always being tried, and we've always got to aspire to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And if we were the best versions of ourselves right now, then we wouldn't need to be put under this test. So again, the scriptures say, examine thyself whether thou be in the faith. And that's something that we need to do daily. I'm speaking to myself first and foremost here. I'm just kind of flowing in the spirit, meditating on some things that I've been through, and you know, areas where I've fallen short myself recently. There was a situation that happened a few days ago to me, actually, which I want to do a testimony video about, but I'm not going to go into it now because that's a lesson in itself. But I had to meditate myself recently on my own conduct and areas where I've fallen short in some of the trials which have been thrown my way unexpectedly by the Most High. And it's been interesting because in falling short myself, I realize, okay, these are some areas that I need to improve on or to work upon. And it's a good thing because, you know, learning a new skill is so much easier when you're not afraid of failing. For example, one of the reasons why adults find it so hard to learn a new skill is because oftentimes they're afraid of looking like a fool. Well, you could use the analogy of a baby. A baby doesn't have that kind of pride. A baby learning to walk isn't thinking, oh, well, if I take 2 steps and fall over, I might look stupid, so I better not try and walk at all because I don't want to look like a fool. No, a baby, they'll walk a few steps, they'll fall. I bet, okay, well, let me try again. I'll walk another few steps and it will fall. But okay, well, I got 2 steps that time. Let me see if I can do 3. And they keep trying and they keep trying. They've got that sincere innocency about them. Therefore, because they have that childlike innocence about trying to acquire the wisdom to walk, wisdom grants them that in due time, so long as obviously they've not got anything physically wrong with them, impairing them from being able to move properly. In due time, the child will learn to walk. And it's the same thing in terms of every other skill you learn in life. So my point being is that Unfortunately, the older we get, the more pride we accumulate. And the more pride we accumulate, the more wisdom is repelled by us. So therefore, you might want to do something as an adult, but because you're so proud, wisdom ain't going to sup with you. She ain't going to open up herself to you. So therefore, you're going to fall short, or you won't acquire that skill. And a lot of people get like that when they get up in age. And when I say up in age, I mean fucking past the age of 10. You know, as soon as that little bit of pride comes in, that's when wisdom won't want to be messing with you. But you know, if we retain our integrity and retain our innocence and have a sincere heart towards things, wisdom will incline her ear towards us and make herself known. But she's not made manifest unto many. But that's going into a bit of a deeper topic. I'm trying to keep this as one-dimensional as possible without getting too deep. But yeah, you know, we're gonna fall in life, but it's not that you fall. It's about what you do after you fall. You know, because there's guys who will try and fall. Oh well, I can't do it, or I might as well just stay on the floor. No man, the Most High ain't dealing with guys like that. The Most High is dealing with the guy who tries, maybe falls short, realizes he's falling short, and then works to rectify his mistakes. That's the type of man that the Most High loves. That's the type of man that the Most High loves. I hope I said that correctly. So that's the quality we should have, that sort of resilience, the desire to overcome situations and to ultimately to overcome the wickedness within ourselves, because we've all got dark sides to us because we're in the flesh. But the spirit is what needs to triumph over the flesh, and that's something that takes a lot of work, and it doesn't come easy. And it's something I'm working on myself personally. As I say, I'm speaking to myself first and foremost here, but I'm speaking in a way that I hope can be edifying. So I'm going to close out here with that, giving all praises, honor and glory unto Yahweh, Baruch Hashem Yahweh Shai, Baruch Hashem Makakadash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and sincere shalom to all Yakim that are teaching this word. Just to once again say, we should always aspire to be the best versions of ourselves we can be, but we're never going to achieve it until we get those new bodies. And while we're in these bodies, you know, we will fall short from time to time, but it's not about, oh, well, I failed on that. No, man, it's about, okay, I made a mistake, but guess what? I'm going to do 10 times better this time. And that way you can never lose. So with that, shalom.